What's up, everybody? This is RetroReviews Plus. How's everybody doing today? It's a nice day outside. Like the old saying goes, it's a nice day to play video games, right? Okay, so I got a update here on my game pickups, and I've got quite a few games recently for the Sega Genesis and for the Sega CD. I recently acquired the Model 1 Sega CD, which that's the model I prefer because, you know, the Model 2, it just looks cheap, and I don't know, it just looks cheap. You know, the top loader, just to look at it, I mean, just when you look at the Model 1, it just looks badass. That's just my opinion on it. And I know people say, oh, the Model 1's not as reliable. Well, that may be true, but still, this the same. I prefer the Model 1. It looks good. It fits right under my Model 1 Sega Genesis, of course, and that's what I like. So, but on with this video, I've gotten some games, and pretty much after you see these games that I've gotten, I've either pretty much hit the jackpot or found some buried treasure, because these are definitely some awesome games. So the first one here, Revenge of Shinobi, and this is the highly coveted version 1.0. And this is a complete in box. There's the cartridge and the book. The version 1.0 is the very first version released, of course, and what that means is later on they did revisions to this game. There was copyright lawsuits because Sega used some characters in this game that you know, the companies thought they needed their permission. You know, they're like Godzilla and Batman. You know, there's a time where you fight Spider-Man, then he morphs into like a guy that looks like Batman. And, you know, they didn't get permission to use any of that, so they had to revise the game. Now, the only character they did manage to keep after all the revisions was Spider-Man. But I got this on eBay for a pretty decent price. I think like $30, $32 maybe. And that's good for this one, for version 1.0, because if people know what they have and they know what it's worth, I've seen them for more than double that, set between $75 and $100. So I feel real good about $32 for that version of Shinobi, and which, in fact, probably is my favorite game for the Sega Genesis of all time. And that's exactly the reason why I wanted that version. I wanted the original one. I wanted to fight Godzilla, not some dinosaur skeleton, you know. So anyways, the second game here, Alien Storm. This was an arcade port, and Sega did have some good arcade ports back in those days. You know, again, this is also a complete in box. It looks like there's a little price tag on it. This looks like this might have been a former rental. It says there's a like a $3 charge or $5 charge will be charged if that book wasn't returned when you returned it. So this looks like it was a former rental. But I got it for a decent price, I think under $20. That's a cool game. It's kind of hard to describe. I mean, it's not like, I was going to say like Contra, but not really, because, you know, there's no really jumping involved. There's no platforming. It's kind of between a beat 'em up, but you have weapons. You know, you have your guns and bombs and that sort of thing. And plus, there is two different modes. There is a first-person shooting mode, as you can see right there, on the different levels. It looks like they're in Radio Shack right there, tearing up the place. But yeah, this is like Aliens, you know. So it's a side-scrolling, basically a side-scrolling beat 'em up, but except you're not like punching and kicking. You're using your weapons that you have. It's a pretty cool game. And this one here, I mean, just love Midnight Resistance. some people refer to this as the Contra Killer, or basically Sega's version of Contra. This also, again, was another arcade port. This first was in the arcades, and I've looked at video footage of the arcade and compared it to the Genesis. The Genesis is spot on, and I actually would say, as far as the sound goes, the music in the game, the Genesis actually jacked the music up a little bit. So this again, I think, let's see, yep, this is another complete in box, or CIB, what do you want to call it. These were the games that I wanted complete in box for the Genesis, the early titles, where you had that, you could tell the early titles, see that there's white lines that crisscross like the grid against the black background, and that's, Shinobi has it, Alien Storm has it. Those are your early title releases, and actually, to me, the early titles of the Genesis games were the best ones. I mean, of course there are some later games that I did like too, but to me, as far as the graphics, sound, the early titles were the best ones. The graphics look so crisp and stuff, like Shinobi, like all these games. Just later on, I think some of the games kind of were sloppy. They were, of course, competing with Nintendo, trying to put more and more titles out. But these early titles, man, they really do it for me. Okay, so the next game I got here for the Genesis is Rambo 3, and I think there was an arcade game, but I think this really isn't a port. This was kind of different. The arcade game kind of mimicked Cabal, if you're familiar with Cabal. This is more like of a top-down shooter, and again, this also had a first-person, or I'm sorry, that's a third-person perspective. I see Rambo is right there at the bottom, taking on a tank there with his bow and arrow. If you remember the movies, he had his explosive arrow tips that he took down helicopters with and stuff. So this is actually based on the third movie, Rambo 3, and it does pretty good at following along the movie. I just like that cover. I mean, that looks pretty badass. I think that cover. There's the book. Awesome game. I've played it. It's been a while since I played it, but it's pretty cool. And the last Genesis game I got is Ghostbusters. Now, I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. If anybody knows me, they do know that. And there's the back. Now, strangely enough, I don't know if just, I just never saw the commercial for this game. Again, this is also complete in box. I did get all these games online on eBay, so for the Genesis anyway. But as Ghostbusters goes, I never knew about this game until in recent times, the internet age. I just after research and looked and came across it, and I'm like, never knew about it back then. I mean, I did know about there was 2 different Ghostbusters games on the Nintendo, the NES, and which they weren't that great. And so I was pretty excited about this, and it's basically a side-scrolling platforming game. You choose one of the 3 Ghostbusters. I know that there's Winston's not in it, but you either choose from Peter, Ray, or Egon. People say those were people get a lot of debate over that. Like Winston, kind of is sometimes the forgotten Ghostbuster, which, basically if you remember the movie, Winston, he came on later in the movie. He was hired on to help out because they was having trouble keeping up with the workload. So he wasn't like one of the original guys at the university. He came in later. He as an employee basically. So that's kind of why I think that this game and also some of the movie posters, Winston's not in it. you know, this game is centered around these three guys that were friends in college, and you know, they worked for the university, and they, you know, that's how that's it started. But they were friends there, so that's kind of the backdrop on that game. But that is a cool game. It's a hard game. But yeah, definitely one to check out if you are a Ghostbusters fan. So those are my Genesis titles that I've gotten recently. Now, on to the Sega CD titles. Now, the Sega CD titles, I wasn't really all that worried about getting complete in box, because you are going to pay a lot more money if you want complete in box. But this here, if you can see that, I'll try to zoom in. Final Fight CD. This was the Genesis didn't get a version of Final Fight. Of course, the Super Nintendo did. But this really is, to me, the best home port of the Final Fight game. I mean, it's next to the arcade. It's, you know, I mean, the arcade, of course, is the best version, but this one here for the home ports, it's pretty cool. I mean, the graphics are right on. I mean, of course, the sound, you know, they really amped up the sound. Of course, they took advantage of the CD capabilities, the stereo sound of the Sega CD, and they did take advantage of it. The music is like kind of true to the arcade. They just amped it up a little bit, and actually some of the music sounds better than the arcade version. So that's an awesome game. I'll take this next one here. Sonic CD. A lot of people say this is very well maybe the best Sonic game ever on a home port. Definitely, as far as like the 2D games, I have played this a little bit, and I have to say I think I like it the best of the Sonics. Pretty cool game. Good sound, graphics are great. Just really nothing bad I can say about the game. Next here is Wheel of Fortune. And I always liked playing this game on the home ports, but you know, they were kind of clunky. Even the Genesis version is very clunky. But this actually is a pretty highly rated game. I mean, it does have, you know, like actual full motion video of like Vanna White and your contestants, but it's still digitized and grainy enough to where you still feel like you're playing a game and not like just watching a movie or watching the show on TV. So it's really fun. I like Wheel of Fortune. It's pretty cool. It's just a game if you don't want to really think about too much and just want to relax and, you know, play a little something. So next here I got The Amazing Spider-Man. Now I will say here, the Wheel of Fortune and the Spider-Man I did get locally at excuse me, at my local video store, One Up Gaming in Newark. I got Spider-Man and Wheel of Fortune there. Actually, I take it back, and I got Sonic CD there too. So I took his three good titles from him that he had for the Sega CD. Now this Spider-Man game is pretty cool. There was a Genesis version, so this is very similar to the Genesis version. It just has added, you know, cinema footages between levels and that sort of thing. Or like after you beat a boss, you know, then you'll see a cut scene. So I haven't played it that much. I've gotten through like the first couple of levels. I fought Doc Ock, and I don't even know the other guy's name. He has like a big star on his head. He's like an electric guy, like he shocks you or whatever. Don't even know his name. So next I got Sherlock Holmes. Now, I am a big Sherlock Holmes fan. Yeah, okay, the disc is upside down. Yeah, this was actually a double pack where this came with Sega Classics. And that has your Streets of Rage, Revenge of Shinobi, Columns, and Golden Axe. Now, this When I bought this game, it didn't come with that disc, and I didn't care about it because I already have those games on the Genesis, so I don't really need that disc. But this is a kind of like a point and click game. It's definitely, you got to basically, you're Sherlock Holmes. You got to try to solve the mysteries. But I'm just a big Sherlock Holmes fan, so that's kind of why I got this game, and I got it for cheap, probably like $3 or something like that. The last game, of course, is Dracula. Bram Stoker's Dracula, based on the 1992 movie with Keanu Reeves. Gary Oldman played Dracula. So here's the disc. I thought that looked pretty cool, the disc. And this was a complete in box. It has the manual as well. I did like this game. I mean, a lot of people, it has mixed reviews, but I don't know, it kind of has a charm to it. And Anthony Hopkins, I was trying to think who the other guy was. Yeah, Anthony Hopkins plays Van Helsing in this movie. It does have video footage from the movie. I mean, it is kind of grainy, of course, but again, you are playing a game, so I kind of don't mind that. I'm really not into the newer consoles where it's like you can't really, they've made it too realistic. I still want to know I'm playing a game by looking at it. So you can see that is video footage from the movie. That picture right there. This is basically a side-scrolling beat-em-up game. You just progress through the levels. It has 3D backgrounds. It's kind of neat as you're walking through. You can just look at the time they took to do the backgrounds like that. And the very first level of this game, basically, if you ever played this game, the very first level of the game is, it sticks out to you. It's the journey to Castle Dracula, where you're basically, the wind is howling and you're on your way fighting bats and stuff, and just it's very, very brings back memories. So that's it, guys. That's my pickup, and that's try to spread them out here. These are my recent games. I wanted to, as these games were coming, I wanted to wait until I got them all before I did this video. Yeah, these are definitely a lot of the games that I wanted. And like I said, to me, if you look at this collection, just these games, that's the jackpot. I mean, these are some awesome games. So I will be doing some review and plays of these games in the future. Just not sure which one's going to be first. I really need to do Shinobi because that version is I've waited on that version for so long, so I may do Shinobi first, but I don't know. But yeah, tell me, you guys leave your comments below. Tell me what you think of this little bounty I got here of these long forgotten gems. Yeah, leave your comments below. Maybe you have some nostalgia for some of these games, as I do. And leave your comments. I'll get back to you and respond as much as I can, as soon as I can. And if you like the video, click like, click subscribe. And until next time, guys, have a good one.